Well, moving on now, in Egypt, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has won the backing of over three-quarters of parliamentarians for his second term in office, a day after a timeline for the election was announced. But Sisi is yet to declare his candidacy for the ballot, scheduled for March the 26th to the 28th. His critics say his popularity has been dimmed by austerity reforms, security problems, and the crackdown on dissidents. The former general won a landslide victory in an election in 2014, 1 year after, as a military commander. He led the overthrow of elected President Mohamed Morsi of the Muslim Brotherhood. The election will be Egypt's third since the 2011 uprising that ended strongman Hosni Mubarak's long rule. And in Ethiopia, the parliament has passed legislation banning the adoption of children by foreigners. The country is a popular destination for families seeking to adopt, with celebrities Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie among those who have adopted children in the past. Now, this law ends all hopes of prospective parents getting children from Ethiopia. Lawmakers say orphans and other vulnerable children should be cared for locally in order to protect them from abuse and neglect abroad. The adoption of Ethiopian children has caused heated debate in the country since 2013, when a 13-year-old girl died mysteriously in the United States, leading to the conviction of her adopted parents. Now, Kenya's Environment Agency says the country's plastic bag ban is being undermined by imports from neighboring Uganda, despite the restriction order. According to the agency's boss, Robert Orena, plastic bags are still finding their way to major towns, and some business operators get the commodity in bulk from neighboring countries, mainly Uganda. Main targets of the illegal business are small-scale traders who sell goods like vegetables and snacks in small portions. The ban, which came in force about 5 months ago, criminalizes carrying, selling and manufacturing plastic bags and comes with fines of up to $38,000 or prison sentences of up to 4 years. Survivors from a boat that floundered off Libya's coast have been recounting their ordeal, saying about 50 of them are yet dead, while a good number might be missing. According to reports, Libyan Coast Guard vessels picked up nearly 300 migrants from 3 boats off the coast of the North African country on Tuesday, but one rubber boat was punctured and the Coast Guard only found 16 survivors clinging to its wreckage. Several of the survivors, who were brought back to a naval base in Tripoli, said there were originally about 70 people on board the boat when it set off near the town of Homs, east of the capital. The 2 other migrant boats were found off Zawiya, west of Tripoli. Libya is the most common departure point for migrants trying to reach Europe from Africa by sea. More than 600,000 have crossed the central Mediterranean in the past 4 years. Nigeria's representative chief of mission at the International Organization for Migration, Frank Celestin, is with us for more on this. Many thanks for joining us on the program. So there we go again, a surge in attempted crossings in recent days. Why do you think migrants still embark on these dangerous trips, even when they know the risk involved?
Well, people migrate for different reasons. So a lot of the migrants are migrating to escape conflict. A lot of them are migrating to find a better life. So what we see, if there is nothing at home for them, if they don't see a future at home, they will take the trip even though they know the danger of it. So there's a lot going on into migration, and there's the push factors of seeing your friends, your neighbor making it, of seeing that people you grew up with making it, and also trying to escape violence and also natural disaster.
But dozens of migrants have gone missing off the coast of Libya, despite this news about terrible conditions that they have to face, and they're still not discouraged. Do you think that the government of these countries have a role to play in this?
Yes, I think everybody has a role to play, starting at home, starting at your community, starting at your mosques, your church, and of course the government and the country of origin, the transit countries. Everybody has a role to play. Unfortunately, migration cannot be manage if it's not in cooperation with a whole host of people. We have to take into account the hardship at home. We have to take into account the pressure that is coming from friends and parents, and we have to take into account the economic pressures, lack of employment that is pushing them out of their home.
Now, you've talked about so many factors that have led these people to make this trip, talking about hardship and economic factors. But do you still see more people making this trip?
Well, we see, as you can see, in your lead-up piece, what we've seen is a lot, this January is, we've seen a deadly start of the year, given the number of people who have died or missing. We recorded about 200 in just the first 10 days of January. Compare that to the entire month of January 2017, where we had dead or missing 254. So we've seen a surge of people moving just so early in the year. So far, about 800 migrants have been rescued at sea. And the incident that you reported on is the third of its kind since Saturday. So that's very worrisome.
Now, talking about being worrisome, let's talk about Libya, which has always been a common departure point for migrants trying to reach Europe from Africa by sea. How do you think this can be checked?
Well, it's a very difficult issue to address, because we cannot stop people entirely from migrating. The conditions have to be created where they want to stay home. But we can look at a combination of development at home and enforcement to check it. But also, again, that involves everybody's involvement. In Libya, going from their country to Libya, I guess having the proper cooperation with the Libyan authorities, and then with the transit countries. But it's a very difficult problem to address, given that a government cannot track every single one of its citizens, and they technically cannot prevent their citizens from migrating. It's a very complex problem.
Yes, indeed. Nigeria Representative Chief of Mission at the IOM, many thanks for coming on the program. And still to come on Network Africa, technology takes center stage, deepen the relationship between humans and wild animals. Do stay with us.